Hi, my name's Joel Cohen.
I'm Tom Weinberg, and we're here to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the TV series that we produced together, which is called the 90's.
And what we're going to do is we'll talk a little bit about the 90s, what it was, and what our kind of vision was for it, and the things that we did in it. But basically, there are all these categories under us that you can click on and see different parts of the series and go to those pages, and there will be other clips on those pages. And obviously, if you like those clips, stay and watch the whole show.
Well, the whole show is also, all of them are on MediaBurn, mediaburn.org. All 52 one-hour shows that we did over the course of 3.5 years.
We decided to just do it, is what happened, and not worrying about who was going to put it on or any of those kinds of things, and we just put it up on the satellite, a satellite that the PBS stations
all
could see, and started making phone calls
and hustling them.
Yeah,
and then we did a few. We did the pilot, and then a few weeks later we started one every week, right?
Yeah, a couple months later. Okay, here's what happened. We did the pilot at the end of June, okay? I think only 2 or 3 stations picked it up. TTW, KBDI, who was our presenting station
in Colorado.
In Colorado, and another maybe like a South Bend
state. Maybe, but there was one in West Virginia or something.
Somewhere weird.
Yeah.
It was unlikely. I shouldn't say weird.
Right. It was welcome.
And so I think that kind of and then MacArthur came up with a little more money to do 13 shows.
We established at the beginning video correspondents, about 6 or 7 of them who were people we had worked with before in other contexts.
So once it got on the air, people saw it and started sending us stuff. And basically by the time all of them were on the air, we got this huge influx of material because it was like a home for material that didn't have homes before, right? I mean, it was all independently produced stuff.
Various lengths, various topics.
It was a way of putting things on television that no one had ever seen before, and people reacted to it really, really well, and were devoted to it as well. I mean, we would get lots of great letters. We'd also get people, calling us commie Nazi bastards, too. Not
we
quite
were,
understanding
we were
the
accused
distinction.
of all sides of evil.
Right.
They may have been right.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot, and we were understaffed, underfunded, under everything, but it was a lot of people just kind of coming together to create this thing that was interesting and new and fun, and we got some of the most unbelievable press at the beginning because it was so different than what anybody had ever seen before. It just caused like a huge, boom reaction.
My favorite one was in Billboard magazine where they said, "This is what TV was always meant to do, but what does it say? Never done before."
It's right here. It says it right here. All the things television was born to do, but never does.
That's Billboard National.
So on this page is a lot of different thumbnails of a lot of different segments that represent a lot of different segments that we did on the 90s. And on each page, Tom and I will kind of go through a little background of what each of the categories is and how they fit into the 90s as a whole. But there's 90s people. There's global 90s, there's the media, which we did a lot of, kind of turning our cameras around on the media and how they presented things. There's characters, which are interesting characters, kind of, in the tradition of Studs Terkel. There's the election specials, which were 3 specials from the 1992 elections that we were commissioned by PBS to do, which they were called the primary, the conventions, and It's Debatable, which was actually the final show we ever produced of the 90s.
If it's not quick, if it's not easy, if it's not fast food junk for the mind, you don't want to hear about it.
And there's another category called First Reality TV, which is really kind of was a staple of the 90s, which was not really documentary, but looking at people's lives and what they did in a very kind of first-person, personal view of both the subject and the videographer, and kind of the relationship between that,
Oh, and this is the 90s.
which was really kind of the seminal point to what then became reality television on network television. I think one of the threads, obviously, through this thing is letting people say what they believe, how they think about things, the way they live their lives, without us, the producers, the show, getting in the way of that. And what we tried as much as we could was kind of put it out there, and not with any kind of editorial slant, but let people, the audience, judge for themselves how they felt about what was being put on there.
Part of that is that it wasn't produced from one place. It was produced by lots of people. There were like 15, 18, 16 pieces in an hour.
Right.
So they came from 12 or 14 different producers and people who were working on it. So it wasn't centralized. It wasn't a network. It wasn't a show. We put it together. We packaged it. We created it as an entity. But we didn't produce the pieces. And that led to diversity. That led to different slants, different takes. And that's, I think, one of the things, even if they didn't say it all the time, that people responded to.
Right.
Like, where's this coming from? You know?
Right. And it also was fun because we were able to go this way and then all of a sudden go that way with the show, because it was coming from lots of different viewpoints and lots of different people. And like I said, we just tried to stay out of the way of the individual pieces and what they were trying to say, and present them as truthfully as possible.